Getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Hello and welcome to the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We are bringing you round 11 live here with myself, Joshua Wilkie, and Charles Boshell, as well as Guido Marzucci in the production booth. Charles, it looks like today on this little short version of Silverstone, we have been to a couple times. I think we were actually here once, maybe a year or two ago in the rain, but it's been a little while. And this is not going to be an easy challenge in the rain in the FF. It never is. Keeping this thing even in a straight line in the rain in the FF can be a bit of a chore out there, and it's not going to be an easy one at all. Today's race being brought to you by filmbill.no. We must remember our sponsors around here making all this stuff possible. But Charles, it looks like it's going to be raining pretty heavy here. I'm not exactly sure. Didn't check the weather for the session, but they're definitely out there qualifying in some pretty heavy rain at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. It is typical British weather. I mean, it's liquid sunshine from start to finish today, it looks like. So, these we've got some really talented FF racers, and this is, it just goes to show you there is we're on board with Frederick Surley, our race sponsor today, struggling just a little bit, and that's going to be the order of the day today. It's just going to be keeping the car under control. The lap times are going to be significantly slower than what you would see in the dry. And it's just a matter of it. I think, the rule of thumb is if you can finish the race in conditions like this, you're probably going to end up with a good result. It's just keeping that car headed the proper direction for the full 40 minutes today.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right there for sure. I've been... I'm usually fairly handy in the rain. And what I mean by that is I can drive pretty well in the rain. What I can't seem to do in the rain is finish a 40-minute race without pointing backwards at some point. So I have a little bit of speed out there, but I can tell you these little hash marks on the road as we're seeing, I believe that was Jorg Mani almost looping it there, locking it down, making sure he didn't actually pull a 180, which is kind of what you want to do. It's hard to fight that reflex to kind of fight the car and keep going forward, but usually the best thing to do is just to lock it down and slide sideways and hope that you don't end up backwards, so you have to start going forward again. But so many little things out there you can touch. The curb, a puddle. Sometimes there's a painted line like the pit entry or exit, maybe on your braking line, and those things will kill you out there. They really will. It doesn't seem like it would. You've probably never played a racing game that's that realistic, but iRacing is. And if you stop on one of those hash marks, you're going to twist sideways.
Yeah, I'm going to give you. I'm just going to reiterate some advice given to me by Jim Brewster, one of the admins, and a very adept rain driver. Not in the session today, but I'm sure if he's watching on, he'll remember him saying this to me. Is basically if you're used to driving in the snow, there's a lot of similarities between driving your road car in the snow than driving a race car in the wet. Is basically no sudden movements, right? Everything is planned out, and it's gradual. You don't get off the gas. You don't get on the brakes suddenly. You don't make very hard turns in the car. You just float the car around, and you take your time and you be patient. And that's going to keep you headed the right direction for the entire race. Now, you're still going to have to deal with issues like, there's other cars that are also on the track trying to drive as fast as they can as well. So there will be some of that. But you're exactly right. The high points that you mentioned as far as curbs and painted lines, extra slippery. It's like they've coated those with oil on top of underneath the water, and it just makes it that much more treacherous. As we see, this is David Lehman sliding off the track, and you just see exactly what that is but once you lock those tires down, you're a passenger at that point. You have no control. You're just waiting on the car to stop.
Yeah, completely. Two really good points there as well. And I'm going to have to agree with Jim Brewster. I live in the snow and grew up in the snow, and have been driving in the snow since I started driving. And honestly, iRacing feels very similar to driving in snow, especially patchy sort of snow where there's maybe a little bit of grip here and there and so on. And it really does feel like that. And you do drive that way. And another good point, there's other drivers out there as well. This isn't as easy as it might look, even just driving around in the rain. So you're in the rain, but you can't see either from the drivers in front of you. And then there's also a ton of avoidance to worry about as well. So it might just be, you might do everything right, and then somebody might just kind of lose it and take you out as well.
Yep.
So it's pretty easy to get into an incident in the rain, maybe a little easier than most races. So we'll see some good decision making to be made out there, and you're definitely going to be trying to peer through that rain at some point there, and it can be a lot of fun, but it can also be pretty scary too. I'm hearing from our producer here that we do have some points to get to, so maybe I'll let you cover those quickly, or at least the first ones here in S1, and then maybe I'll take S2. You can take Masters.
That works. So let's look at our championship standings. We are in round 11 today, and it is Mikey Power leading, but only 30 points ahead of Jake Williams in second, and then Arrow Nom with a strong third place, 30 points separating them. So this is very much could be a wild card round with the bad weather here at Silverstone. Jason Chen, Daniel Case round out your top 5. Eduardo Batista, Frederick Surley, Dan Witzak, Andrew Moran, Soren Garrett rounds out your top 10. So pretty tight battle up there in S1. What about S2 there, Josh?
One of my favorite classes for sure. I've spent some time in S2, still in S2. I think I'm in S1, maybe in FF, but nonetheless, S2, all kinds of battling going on here usually, and no different this time. Paul Jackson with 588 points, so doing really good this season in FF. Just behind him with 481, we're going to find Daniel Veron, then Kevin Adrian, Chris Montgomery. Daniel Salmon is in 5th place, and the point spread gets pretty heavy about 5th place here, and on David Foy, Dmitry Lukanov, Russell Telker, and Todd Shuey. And I'm thinking we're probably seeing a little bit of participation going on there as well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. As we look at the Masters, Jorg Monty leading the Masters class by a huge margin, 734 points to David Lehman's 511. So a 220-point gap between P1 and P2. A little bit tighter between second and third as Chris Murakami is in third with 492, so only 19 points back. And then only 1 point behind him is Alan Degassis in fourth. Antonio Reese is in fifth, Andrew Lubb in sixth, Jeff Wubker in seventh, Jim Brewster, the aforementioned, in P8, Pierre Robitaille in P9, and Marcus Burkett rounding out your top 10 in Masters. So pretty much going in a way there is Jorg. I think he has probably already clinched the Masters championship with 2 rounds left to go. So I don't think that there's going to be any chance for anybody to make that time up, make those points up. But still, lots to play for there from P2 down. So still a few drivers involved in the hunt for second and third on the championship podium. So we're about 17 minutes into qualifying here, and Jake Williams currently leading our qualifying with a 119.6. Over Arrow Nom, who is in second by almost a full second. So a big gap there. Jake Williams looks to be the class of the field here in qualifying. Then a host of drivers a little bit further back, Kevin Adrian, Jackson Morley, and Jorg Monty rounding out your top 5. And I think we're about to get our onboard lap here with our FilmBuild.no sponsor, Frederick Surley, as they head down the front straight here. This is the club circuit. So a little bit different there as we come through, and this is into, I believe, Cops, which we head around is turn 2, and then we're going to run into Maggots and Beckett's here. As you see him really fighting the car there, coming through Maggots to get that car to wrap around, and we're going to cut across. We're not going all the way down through. I'm sorry, are we? We are not. No. So we're cutting across here. We're going to skip Chapel and come back out onto the Hangar Straight from the opposite side as we make our run down. And I believe that was not Cops. I think this is Cops coming up, and I've got to refresh my memory here of the corner names of Silverstone.
Sometimes.
Yeah. So was that Cops? Okay.
It was Cops. Yep.
Yeah. So okay. So as we come around. Very, very long right-handed there, just bleeding off the speed, trying to hang on to the car. Manages to catch it, but I believe that's an off-track as we come down into club as our final corner here. We're going to stop. You just move it over, allowing a car to go through, but this is a club corner, I believe, and then the final corner back around to the start-finish line. So as you can see, much, much shorter than the Grand Prix circuit, but this is a very, very difficult course nonetheless. As you can see, with all the standing water here, Frederick doing a good job, just managed to finish off the lap there. Did not gain any time, I believe. Like I said, I believe he was off track there in Stowe. and just could not quite hang on to it. And so I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that today, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we could actually see Frederick there testing sort of the grip in that corner as he sort of laid into it and then laid into the steering as well, kind of testing the grip once he sort of blew the lap a little bit. And man, it's raining out there. It's actually pretty wet out there for sure. So this isn't going to be easy. I have found kind of when it's full wet like this, I'm all right. When it starts to dry out and it starts to get patchy, is when it can really, really, really get treacherous. Is what I've found. I'm pretty good in the full wet. Starts to get a little bit difficult in the patchy stuff, and then as it really starts to dry out, I can kind of pick up pace again. It seems, and one of the main things I can remember from these races, at least when I was first doing them, is just how much the dynamic weather can change in iRacing. It really does actually change, and you have to adapt to it. As it changes, or you'll end up sideways, or you'll end up it starts raining more, and it really does get wetter, and it really does get slipperier, and that corner is a lot different than the last time you went through it, as we're seeing there. Cars also spinning a little bit, still trying to find that grip. This is when you want to do it. This is when you expect to see some of the faster guys spinning their vehicles and stuff right now, because they're out there looking for the limit, and that's exactly what you want to do in quali once you've kind of put a lap in.
Yeah, absolutely. As I'm looking at the radar now, and the rain will end. And how much we cycle forward out of qualifying into race, how much time elapses between them will determine how if it's still raining or not. But there is a break in the rain in an hour in normal sim time. So we'll see how much we jump forward. If it's still going to be raining when we get started with the race, but
that leaves a conundrum for the drivers as well.
It's at least long enough that the rain will stop during the race. Now, when and if that happens will determine if we're ever going to get back to a dry track. Either way, if it stops raining, we should see the times pick up as the track dries and we start getting a good racing line in. So it'll be something we'll have to watch out for as qualifying is now done. So we're just waiting on the session to kick over to our race session, and we can bring up our starting grid.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said there, when the weather changes, it's going to put a bit of a question mark in your head too. Maybe not this time. It sounds like it's going to rain pretty much through the race, but sometimes you're wondering, should I bring that wet setup out? Should I bring that dry setup out? Which one should I use? They're going to be drastically different than one another. And if it really dries out and you're on wet, you're going to struggle, or vice versa. So it should be kind of interesting to see how that goes. But it looks like we have a pretty patchy track here. Got a bit of a short pace lap, so we'll get right into it. Jake Williams from Wales is going to bring this one around in the front, first place. Aeronam in second. Team, I'm going to try that one. Bushfink Racing, I think he got there in second place. In S1 and S2, our first driver, Kevin Adrian in Adrian Motorsports. Jackson Morley from Canada in fourth. Jorg Mani, our first Masters driver, in fifth place. Mario Rass in sixth. Seventh, Mikey Pollard. Eighth, we have Antonio Reese. Ninth, we have Andrew Murren. In 10th, we have David Lehman. 11th, Frederick Sorley. 12th, Glenn Waluski. 13th, we have Jeff Wubker. 14th, Paul Jackson. 15th, Daniel Veron. 16th, Andrew Love. 17th, we have Daniel Case. And in 18th, we have Rick Washone. And I think that is going to round out our field today. I'm used to doing the fields in some longer or bigger. I'm sorry, I'm just struggling for words there. Bigger fields, sorry, is what I'm trying to say. And it looks like we've lost a little bit of participation in FF, especially maybe when it rains. We usually get at least 20 some odd, but only about 18 this time. So we'll see how this start goes, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we'll as we get ready to get off started on our pace lap. Yeah, I think it's a little bit lower because of the weather. Now, that being said, I just checked our radar. Radar is clear. No more rain. So the track will be going to a drying state. So it's going to make things interesting. Once again, these cars use all-weather tires, so there's no need for a new set of tires. They'll be durable enough for the 40 minutes. As I do see, we have a couple of guys that have decided to start from the pits, which is all well and good there as the field takes off. And you see there, Aeronam is who we're pointed at there. My favorite Estonian driver, Aeronam. He's just really good in these in the Formula Fords and the Spec Racers as well. So Oh, our leader trying to get the tires warmed up and almost spun the car. So that's a little aggressive there, Jake. We don't want to call State Farm for the incident here on the pace lap. So looks like we're coming around and we're ready to get things going there, Josh.
Yeah, looks like we're going to get a start here, and this one's going to be a pretty key start, pretty key lap to get it warmed up. He's going to jump already here, so we are off and running, and it's looking pretty close so far in the midfield there. Got a good jump up front and into T1 here, hopefully not going 2 or 3 or 4 wide in the background. It looks like we're going to take her pretty easy. Looking at the Cannon car here, the 99. Up front, looking pretty clean so far. Got a great jump up front there and looking pretty clean in the mid-pack so far, Charles.
Yeah, so far so good. A couple of movers, but only up Andrew Morant up 4 positions early, so he's got a good start. Nobody with any incidents at the start of the race, so all 18 cars, we're going to say 16 cars, as we had 2 cars. Daniel Case, Rick Wishon did not take the start. Paul Jackson did come out of the pit, so he'll be rounded out the field here of 16. As we head down the long straightaway here, the Hangar Straight for the first time, running down into Stowe. And this is our first real test of a high-speed corner there as they try to bleed the speed off and looks like everybody's going to get through there safely. They're doing a really good job of being patient early in this race.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to be in the rain here. You want to tiptoe around a little bit, see if you can't find what condition you're driving out there, find that line that you're going to use, and then try to stick to it a bit. Looks like we've got a spinner in the form of Jorg Mani here in the 295, so not exactly sure how that happened yet, but he is facing the wrong way and now almost bringing up the rear here. Paul Jackson's going to be a long distance behind there. I'm not sure if he's having a hardware issue or what have you. I don't think he meant to start in the pits on purpose around here. I'm not sure he would have done that on purpose. Is not the place you want to do that. Such a short track, and you're up to speed going by the pit as well. So it's not a place you want to start from the pit. But that one's going to put him way back, at least for now. Jorg Mani going to be just in front of him. We got some pretty good fighting going on up front here. Going to have a look. Looks like Antonio Reese here, all on his own, just looking forward as well. Perhaps something happening up ahead. Nope, Antonio Reese going to get a little bit loose, try to save it. He's going to make that save and probably flash the tires a little bit there, and unfortunately going to lose the rear end. And got a decent rejoin there. Would have been a little freaked out, I believe, if I was Daniel Varon coming by. I think we're going to see Jorg Mani's incident now from our chopper cam here, having a look from above, and we're going to have sort of the same type of incident. They're going to ask a little bit too much of the car mid-corner, and then just some just millimeter avoidance there, maybe even a tap.
Yeah, maybe so, but I think that was Frederick Sorley that was behind him and was able to just avoid the major contact there with Jorg and our two of our Masters drivers, Reese and Monty. Very adept in these cars, struggling a little bit early with the wet track, and it's going to be interesting to see as it looks like we've got some spots of puddling, but it seems like that there is already starting to see a little bit of dry line starting to form here, and we're only on lap 3, but these cars will run very similar lines here, trying to avoid the puddles where they can. And that maybe will clear off a dry line that we might be able to see a little bit of some quicker lap times as we're going to get another look here at Verone on replay as we're heading down into the corner and just once again just losing the rear of the car. Yeah, it's going to be a very normal pattern for this type of
I feel like I saw that coming from a mile away somehow. Wow, that was an odd one for sure. I feel like I saw that coming. You almost set it up there. They looked like they were in just sort of an awkward orientation, and the brakes so heavily applied, not able to respond there by the looks of it here. So we're going to see, I believe, so the car up that's what it was. Car up the inside. Looks like it kind of surprised the film bill car of our sponsor there, Frederick, and he kind of overreacted perhaps, and into Antonio Reese, just a bit of a bystander here. You're going to see a flick reaction. Boom! And Antonio Reese is into it in the 914. Unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunate. But I think that the little bit slower speeds that these cars are going, I think actually saved Antonio from for major damage, as the car looks like it's okay. Did not see any bent suspension or broken suspension parts. So I think he's going to be able to continue on. But yeah, it just looked like Frederick was turning in. Oh, we had a
Adrian
slide there
saves it.
as a 73 car of Kevin Adrian at the 210, losing a little bit, able to catch it, but you can see he lost some time. The 73 Mikey Pollard getting by and able to get the run and get past to pick up P5 as Adrian drops down to 8th, and now he's in a battle there with Jackson Morley and Glenn Wolosky. It's a S2 battle here for 7th, 8th, and 9th. And, Kevin's had some really good runs this season from that Spec 2 car. And just like he's struggling a little bit. I think this gets a little better, as I said, as the track dries and the tires get back up into operating temp. And we clear off a little bit of standing water. I think we're going to see the lap time start dropping down a little bit, and we'll see some better, tighter racing as we've got this nice little 4-car draft heading down the straightaway.
Oh boy. Yeah, turning the screws there for sure. I believe that's Glenn Wolosky in the background there turning the screws. And now we have Jorg Manny and Jeff Wubker here as well. Jorg Manny putting the pressure on Jeff. He's going to take the inside line there. Going to be able to get that one done probably on exit. You're seeing exactly that. It looks like the times are dropping almost every lap. Yep. That's going to be A, because the tires are warming up, and B, because the track's probably getting a little bit more dry. That I'm not sure if that looked like maybe Kevin Adrian in the background again there getting sideways. Usually a pretty handy driver in the rain. He's usually one you want to watch out for. He's got the long game in mind, generally speaking, when it comes to racing in the rain, and you'll see him moving up through the field as he kind of consistently plugs laps away is usually the way Kevin's going to get that done. Looks like he's doing pretty well, but got loose a couple times there. Sometimes you do have to find the limits. Looking at Mario Ras now, looks like he is going to be trying to bleed off what looks like a speeding penalty, or an off-track penalty. Looks like he's going to get that done here. Adrian attacking now. The likes of Jackson Morley in front of him. So there's definitely some action going on out there for sure. Watching our lap times kind of start to level off at the moment. So I'd imagine the tires are warmed up now. Conditions don't look like they've changed a whole lot, but it does seem like it's getting drier. So we should see some more moves happen. Kevin Adrian being one of them here, making some moves on, I believe that's Jackson Morley in the 92.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to make up the time that he lost there from those little catch moments. But yeah, to go back to what you said, I just went back and looked at the pole time, where Jake Williams' last lap was a 1:16.3, which is 3.3 seconds faster than his pole qualifying time. So the times are definitely coming down. Everybody's running probably 3 to 4 seconds a lap faster than they were during qualifying. So track is definitely drying. And we're definitely getting a little bit harder racing. I think those little catches that we're having to make now during this go away as we start getting some dry lines formed, and the puddles start kind of dissipating as the drivers work their way through. They're just getting that spray, and the spray is just blowing the water off the track. And the lap times are showing as a result, as we see Jake now with another fast lap of the race, 1:16.1. So take another 2 tenths off of that, and it just keeps dropping as the laps keep winding around.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like it's getting drier on board again with Antonio Reese here having an eventful race, let's call it, so far. Not really had too many pitfalls, and he did survive that incident earlier, but he's going to be facing the wrong way again, and that's going to be getting frustrating at this point for sure, to try to lock that car down and find the right line and not end up backwards. Really easy to do, as we were saying, on the run-up as the conditions change. You can see it getting patchy out there. Really, really easy to snag a dry patch or a wet patch for that matter. And the orientation of the car just changes all of a sudden. And man, these things can be hard to lock down on a dry day, let alone on a wet one. So, pretty difficult stuff. Jake Williams, though, making fairly short work of this so far. Almost 9 seconds ahead now. Just kissed the 9-second mark there ahead of our Onam. And he's looking pretty good. Love to go maybe on an onboard lap with him at some point, see what kind of a line he's pulling. But he's got something out there for sure, finding those dry spots.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so one of the Antonio is one of the last things on this track to dry is going to be those apex curbs. You're going to still see puddles in several of those spots. There'll be some that are dry, but if you just look at this track in general, you're going to see puddles around the apex curbing, and those are still going to be wet, and you're going to struggle with those until the track. That's going to be one of the last things to dry, and you'll as you can see there, you see Verone just drive straight through the puddle there on the inside and losing the rear of the car. So you still have to kind of run a little bit of a wider line through some of these corners. It's going to hurt your lap time, but you can see there with the example there of Kevin Adrian running mid-track as opposed to right up against the curbing, and that's just going to be the fastest way around for a bit. So running down the hanger straight here.
I was muted. Sorry about that.
And no, it's okay. As Adrian and Morley still doing battle here for P6, so they're having a good run, even battling side by side through a lot of these corners. So you see this back there. You see a little bit of wiggle there by Morley as he drives through a puddle, so now we're going to make it our way around here. This is the club corner. So final corner coming back out onto the main straight to the start finish line, and Adrian able to pick up that spot. We'll see if he can hang on to it for a lap or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Good battle between Morley and Adrian there for sure. Sun popping out right as the times come drastically down. Up front setting a 1:15 about 3 laps ago. We're setting 1:17, so it's definitely getting faster out there now. Yeah, Kevin Adrian slowly moving forward. He's now the leader of P2. We'll see if, of S2. See if he can run away with this one. It looks like he's got the pace out there in the S2 category. And of course, just behind him, actually, Jackson Morley here. Looks like Adrian's actually going to make a mistake into that corner. Going to give it back to Morley here. And there's a pretty good fight back there. We got a couple off tracks and a black flag, actually, for Mikey Pollard now. Not a good one. Not exactly sure what that's going to be for yet. Perhaps we can track that down, but pretty good fight coming down here between the Labatt's car. Jorg Mani getting in that one as well. And Kevin Adrian going to lose out on 3 positions in about 2 corners there with one single mistake. So, man, a little bit of a back and forth there for Kevin today. He is yin-yanging back and forth a little.
Yeah, absolutely. As Pollard comes in for his drive-through, so he's going to make a run down through pit road and get that drive-through served. I can only think that was – I didn't see a yellow, so I only think that's an incident limit of 13. It's going to be easy to achieve here today. We're probably going to see more of those. I think I'm already looking at our software, and we've got several cars that may already be in danger of hitting that limit. So we're going to be very careful. We may see several drive-throughs during the course of this race as we got a car around, and that was
Morley.
Morley. So
Jackson
Morley losing
yep.
it there. So the battle between him and Adrian takes another turn as he is now behind Adrian again in P7. Yep. So you would think the Canadians would drive better in the. I
know. I was just gonna say I'm Canadian myself, and we're used to driving in inclement weather. Let me tell you, as we're seeing Daniel Veron. So maybe not. It's just getting treacherous out there, and this may be that witching hour, Charles, that I was speaking of when. It starts to get dry. You start to kind of push a little bit more. You go, hey, maybe I can touch that curb. Nope, you can't touch that curb. And nope, you can't hit the brakes that hard. And nope, you can't turn that hard, Jorg Mani. So it's happening. He cannot crank that hard in the car yet. It's just not quite there yet. And it looks like it's kind of grabbing everybody. So big shake up forward, big shake up backwards. Kevin Adrian's back in the front. Jackson Morley from Jorg Mani from Glenn Walewski. So, within what? That was a lap and a half. We went from him leading to in the back to leading again, and we are fighting. So good stuff out there. Nobody's wrecking any cars. We're just kind of figuring out the track, and we're right back battling almost where we were. Jorg Mani applying some pressure now.
Whoa. Yeah, I got to be careful with the 3 wides there between Adrian, Monty, and Morley. And you can see through this section that we've been on for the last couple of quarters, you can see a definite spray behind the car. But there are some places on the track. It's contact made between Morley and Adrian, and they're both off into the barrier. So Morley towing back to the pits, broken car. Adrian, I think, is going to continue on. And so meatball for Morley. He is going to tow back, and it's going to serve that. tow and take his fast repair, probably come back out, or maybe not. But you can just see all three of these cars, and Adrian just running wide. I think he caught a puddle and pushed him out, and Morley was out there. Not anything that Jackson did wrong in that occasion. Not really anything that Kevin did wrong. It's just the nature of driving on a mixed track. I was mentioning the fact that you could see spray on certain areas of the track, but for the other, there's some section of the track already that are just bone dry, and so it just makes for very, very, very difficult driving conditions here. And Adrian now in the pits also, so he's going to have to get some repairs done, able to drive it around. But that's going to drop them down the order. That gives Glenn Wolosky the lead in Spec 2 with David Lehman and Jorg Monty closing the gap down to Lehman trying to take over, and that's the Masters battle. So we see another car, Wolosky running wide. I mentioned his name. We're commentator cursing everybody today. Wolosky, I mentioned his name. He drops 2 positions, gets passed by Surly and Pollard. As we're going another view here with Jorg Monty, you can see track fairly dry there. Puddle in the middle of the track there, making that. You still see a little bit of puddling there on the apex. And I think just maybe a little too much speed, got a little confident in the car, and kind of bit him a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. He was doing pretty good there for a bit, so even he's going to fall victim to a spin here. But, Jorg Monty does seem to have the speed now. He is catching up to his competitors fairly quickly. I would love to roll back a pass that Jorg Monty made about 2 minutes ago there through that group. I believe it was through Kevin Adrian and who is it? Kevin Adrian and Jackson Morley, I believe. He made such a sweet little pass through there, just very opportunistic. And then it looks like they just got caught up in each other right after that, trying to sort out, okay, well, who's going to lead between the two of us now? And they kind of went into the same piece of track, and we lost the both of them, too, as we're seeing more track limits kind of being tested there, grip limits being tested by David Lehman. We're going to have a quick look here at Jorg Monty, and you're going to see sort of a squabble happening here, and then Jorg Monty, you know what, actually, I think this is, you know what, my replay just got messed up. Maybe you can see this one better?
Yep, I can see this, and just a nice battle there as we're on board with him, and I believe that's David Lehman in front, and just nice battling there as Adrian and Morley doing in the battle as well. And that's Jorg in the middle. Yeah. And so we're gonna go back to the main screen, back to the live action here as Lehman has cleared Jorg Monty by 9 seconds. Jorg has Pollard and Surly in tow. So you got a nice little 3-car battle here as they're trying to just keep grips with this track change as it changes, and trying to get extract as much lap time as possible. And it looks like Wolosky's also trying to make up a little bit of gap to jump into this 3-car battle.
Yeah, absolutely. Field getting a little bit spread out now, but this is definitely when you're going to, again, conditions have changed, and the driver who's fastest in these conditions is now going to start to move forward, or the drivers that maybe not coming to grips with this changing condition, moving backwards. Aero Nom here, looking from Jake Williams on some lap traffic here, I believe. So, this is going to be another one where you're just kind of clenched a little bit. I believe that's Antonio Reese up ahead of him here. So you're just clenched a little bit, trying to get around some lap traffic sometimes, even though we know Antonio Reese is going to get out of the way. It's going to be safe. Jake Williams doesn't necessarily know that. And you never really know. You're wondering, do they see me? Am I about to get into an incident? You try to just be kind of confident and calm about it and try to get through it. We're definitely seeing a good view of the track here now as well. Looking like it's drying out quite a bit. Pretty patchy out there. Definitely when you want to start looking for different lines and searching for maybe line you haven't tried before now would be the time for that. But really watching out for these apexes. Like you said, there's a lot of water on a lot of these apexes.
I mean, you can just see the line that Jake's taking. He's really not pushing the apex of the corners. He's keeping it mid track, and you can see the difference as he just a little bit of a wheel touch in there on that right hander, and then comes back around. That one's pretty dry already, and it seems like everyone with an 114.8. That's just insane. And as you can just see him looking, just basically watching every corner as he comes up to it. Has it changed since the last time I came through? Is there still water there? Can I really dive the apex, or do I have to kind of hold out? And he's done just a perfect job of just being aware of the track as Monty almost over rotates it, catches the car, but loses time once again. And you see Pollard and Surly going by. And Monty, and then Monty also getting passed by Woloski. So it's still just, you really have to be on the edge and hyper focused for the entire 40 minutes here. So we're going to get another replay of Kevin Adrian. So he's back out on the track after his pit stop, and just too much speed in the corner and looping the car around. He'll reset that. My guess is the tires are probably also a little cold from the previous pit stop he just took. So once again, you got to get that operating temp back in those tires before you can really start to push. And we're going to get a replay here. And this is David Lehman, currently running in P5, leading the Masters class. You see the spray of that corner, and then gets over on the curb, and the curb is still so wet. And that painted surface over there is just like ice. And off the track he goes, but manages to not hit anything and gets back out there as Ross is now in the pit.
Yeah, we're getting some pit stop cycling out here. It's another one that's kind of a bit of an interesting one in the rain. You never really know, the pits, fuel obviously drastically changing in the rain as you're just not on throttle, not even nearly as much as you would be in a full-on dry race. Getting another spin from the 92 here. Going to have a quick look and see what happened. And I think, we're just seeing probably a lot of people out here just starting to push it. We're going to clip that inside curb, get a little bit unstable. We're going to lock it down. And then a little bit too much again. So, it's really easy in iRacing to sort of flash the tires like that. You lose it a little bit. Next corner or two, going to be a little bit loose, a little bit harder maybe to get the car under you. You kind of have to take it easy out there for sure. But yeah, we're definitely watching the conditions change now and having to, like we were saying in the run up there, having to sort of adapt to those conditions, not push too hard out there. Like you're saying, you kind of want to run around at about 80% everywhere in the rain, even when it's like this, or else you just go off track. We're seeing Jorg Mani really pushing it in a few spots there, and that's exactly how you end up spinning it. I was exactly the same way in the rain, still am. You get out there and you just want to go faster, right? You want to push a little more, especially, if you've locked it down 3 times, 4 times in the race, you're like, I can make up time here. I'm faster than this. I'm worth more than this. And that's exactly how you do it. It's like biting your cheek. You just continue to bite it and bite it and bite it until you find yourself in a position you wish you weren't in. And Jorg Mani hopefully going to make up some more, but everybody's struggling out there today for sure.
Yeah, Antonio reached for the black flag, and that's going to be for incident points. Wow. And he just pulls over and parks it, says, I'm done.
Tough one.
David Lehman in the pits for his pit stop. Antonio, I think probably just another spin here. You see just in the apex and that into that puddle, another puddle there. You see the car wiggling as he was coming through. And just same corner. And I think I figured out what's going on in that corner. The drivers are being aware that there's a puddle on the inside, so they're taking a wider entry, but they're not adjusting their throttle input when they get back to the gas. They're actually kind of turning a little bit more to adjust the car back to the normal line. And I think that there's just too much steering input and too much throttle at the same time on a wet track. And I think that's just throwing everybody off, and it's just catching everybody out today.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's sort of a strange setup, right? You'd usually go really wide and then kind of swing into that apex and really kiss it, and you're having to kind of go middling through the corner, sort of asking the car of some strange mid-corner grip, and it's not really working out for people. You want to almost set that one up really, really wide in the rain, perhaps, and then cut that over rather than coming into it as shallow. But just looking at now, Frederick Sorley, our sponsor from filmbill.no. Pretty cool business, actually. You looked into it a little bit, and it's you can rent vehicles for film shoots. So if you need some piece of machinery or a vehicle, whatever, a taxi, an ambulance, whatever you might need for your film shoot, they'll help you out with that kind of stuff. So that's a pretty cool business to have. I think I've never heard of anything quite like it, but I really like that sponsor, and we got to thank him a ton, as we're going to look into another replay here involving Glenn Wilkie, and it looks like Jorg Mani out front here. The blue and white car looking like it's doing okay. We're going to get out into the paint, and you just can't do that, can you? You can hear the producer just going, nope, you can't do that. Not yet. Can't get it into the paint yet. Maybe not at all during this race, actually. I would be just staying away from the paint, unless, of course, you have exactly the right orientation, the car. You can kind of roll through it and not touch the gas or the brake or the steering or anything, and then you can get through the paint.
Exactly right. I think that's the exact right way of approaching that. As we see Andrew Love, haven't talked about him today, which means he's probably driven a pretty good race as we're on board. And just in the paint again, same thing is they're trying to open that corner up, and they're taking that normal racing line over there in the curb and in the paint, and just can't do it right now. I don't think you're right. I don't think it's going to dry out fast enough for you to be able to use those, as we still have quite a bit of spray down the straightaway here, the hangar straight. Still see puddles on the side of the track. So track is drying as the drivers are going around. The sun is helping with that as well. But I just don't think with only 15 minutes left in this race that we're going to get back to a bone dry track. And a lot of those painted surfaces are just going to be just icy patches for the remainder of the race, as we're on board here with Andrew Moran, who's picked up P2. So has passed Aero Nom and gapped him by 1.7. So Andrew Moran having himself quite a good run. And there's Nom around. Wow. So here I am jinxing everybody else today, and Aero got his dose of it. So
it was a good 360 though. Solid.
Yeah, it was a good 360. Well recovered. But yeah, once again, just a wide line through that final corner to try, and that's a difficult corner in the best of circumstances. Just the way that the corner is designed, and just see that just could not hang on to it. As that gap is now almost 8 seconds, and Moran just really driving well with our Alameda Racing Academy driver today, and looks like they've done a little bit of work getting prepped for this race.
Yeah, beauty paint job on the Almeida car there. Pretty cool stuff. And yeah, they are formidable drivers out there at the Academy for sure. Good place to go get some coaching and stuff. Definitely, they've been doing real well in both series. Here for sure, having people having very little answers for some of their driving around here for sure. Good stuff. As we're going to plug in a 14.3 up front, Jake Williams still charging into the void here faster than anyone else on track, plugging away laps, finding those lines, not finding the curbs or the painted sections of the course. You can see him getting right up against them there. He knows every little inch of that car, and that's going to be important. I don't think Andrew Love meant to touch the paint there necessarily, but it's really easy to just especially in a sim, right? We don't know who or what people are driving. Do they have triples? Do they have VR? Or are they sitting on a single monitor and they can't even see their tires out there? They can't even see it sometimes. So it can be difficult for sure in the rain. It adds a bunch of different skills and different things you need to learn out there. Jake Williams kind of mastering them today. Paul Jackson up from his pit lane start here. He's actually up into 12th place now, so that worked out for him a little bit. He's going to be a lap down at this stage, but not looking too bad. Jeff Wubker as well here in 4th place in Masters. Looking now at Jorg Mani, 6th place, still holding on to it out here. I think we've probably had more replays of this driver than any, perhaps this race. He's going to touch that inside curb and then try to touch the inside curb there. He's going to get away with it. Outside curb, not going to get away with it. Yeah. And that's the one, right? These have an open differential, Charles, and if you get out on the slippery bit, it's going to take the path of least resistance.
Exactly right. Yeah, it's you could just see where that was headed. Just kind of watching. We're going to see Wubker here. Same corner, same thing. Are we going to get the same thing again? Let's see. So no, that was on the inside that time, and that is a little cut through there to head back to the hangar straight, and that was the inside puddle there that kind of caught Wubker out. And we're going to get Monty here,
a little wibble on the inside,
running a little wide, managed to get it back under control. Still see quite a bit of spray on that car. Just too much throttle. I mean, just too much. Just asking too much for the conditions.
He's going to park it. He's done.
Says, I've had enough of the backwards and the sideways stuff. I'm going to the pits. Morley with a black flag. So he is the next car, unfortunately, just going to have to serve a drive-through penalty. as we see Moran as now Jake Williams in the pit. So leader in the pits. You mentioned this, that you don't use as much fuel when you're out there driving in the wet, and it's true. And I think that they could probably take this race, on the fuel they have for the full 40 minutes. But I don't. But obviously, there is a mandatory pit stop required, so you do have to come down pit lane and make a stop in the box. So even if they might not take as much fuel or any fuel, he's still got to come in and stop, get his pit stop served, get back out on the track, and finish off the race. We'll see his pit time he's taken. Looks like a full complement of fuel here as we're around the 12.5 stopped in the box. So that feels like a little more than necessary, but you know what? He's the one driving the car. I can't see fuel numbers, so it's a guess on my part. But if anybody's going to need more fuel, it's going to be Jake, because he's absolutely been out there flying.
Yeah, when you're out leading, you're going to use a little bit more, but not a whole bunch more, but you're going to use a little bit more for sure. We're just getting some info from our producer there that it sounds like he took a fairly good load of fuel, but I think he's going to be fine as far as time goes there. It shouldn't be an issue today. Looking back here now at Jake Williams as well, a bit of I believe there's some lap traffic around him here, so we're not worried too much about that. And he's going to be able to hopefully clear this lap traffic pretty quickly there and not be affected by it. That would really stink at this point of the race to get caught up in something like that. I think we just saw Kevin Adrian there, or sorry, one of the other vehicles there pull in to the pit out in front of him. I believe that was Euro Nom pulling into the pit in front of him there. So, watching him again, getting real close to these exit lines and so on without touching them, and that's going to be the key to the fastest lap out here for sure, is finding those corners, squaring them off, and making sure that you're using all of the track. Looking again here at the Almeida car leading at the moment out front, Andrew Moran, who's of course still going to need to get into the pit here. We'll see how this shakes out. You never know. Maybe Jake didn't, took a little too much fuel. Maybe Andrew won't take as much. We'll see how it works out. The pits are man, they're just the bane of my existence, to be honest.
So it just shows how much of a lead Jake had. He came out in third place from the lead, and he was right behind the third place runner of Aaron Nom. So I mean, that's how much of a gap he had already put on the rest of the field. So he's going to come back out once Moran comes in, as he's doing now. And you talk about wet, the pit lane is still super wet. So that is one thing that it takes the longest to dry, because it doesn't get nearly as much use. So Moran's going to come in to a very, very wet pit lane. He's going to make his stop. Looking back, Aaron Nom's lap, his pit was actually slower, 13.7. So he hasn't made up any time by the fuel stop, as Jake Williams now another fastest lap of the race, 14.1. Just flying around the track as Moran is now in his box. We'll keep an eye on his time. Pollard in as well. Paul Jackson in as well. So I think that is the only one left is Frederick Surley, who is still yet to come into the pit. So he'll be inheriting the race lead for. No, he won't actually. He's still behind Jake Williams, but he'll be moving up a couple positions, or at least one, as Pollard's in, and he's ahead of Aaron Nom. So until his stop is done, he'll drop back down, but he's having quite a good day. So, as once again, we thank him always for his sponsorship of today's event. So we'll see if he manages to can sneak a top 5 out of this. Oh, and that's going to help, is Andrew Moran now with a black flag. So he came out, and that might have been a pit speeding on exit, which is going to be detrimental to his finishing position, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I like to say, they're the bane of my existence, Charles. I'm either screwing up my pit entry, my exit. Generally it's all about fuel load for me. I always take too much or not enough. And man, is it ever, it seems like a simple thing, right? It seems you just go in, you stop, you leave. Well, it's not that simple at all. You got to think about it during the race. When am I going to do it? How am I going to enter? Is there going to be somebody else entering when I enter, or exiting when I exit? Where am I going to come out? all of these things. And if you think about that stuff in the car, at least me anyway, I only have enough bandwidth to drive. That's it. I can't think about, this other stuff at all. And if I do, I start losing time. So, I've gotten to the point even a couple times there where I'm thinking about it. I lose a bunch of time in a lap, almost kill myself. And then I screw up my pit stop too. It can be that bad. So it's not an easy one. And unfortunately, Andrew Maron's going to find that out, at least lose one position because of it to Aero Nam. And he's going to regret that. It's really unfortunate. It happens to me too, though, so don't feel too bad. I think it happens to all of us, actually. As we're looking pretty dry out there now, we should really see the time start clicking down. I would be thinking just hold her together. 6 more minutes. No point in lighting the world on fire. You know what I mean? Unless you're right in a battle with somebody, just kind of keep her steady and see what you can do out there.
Yeah, exactly right. Is we're only 5.5 minutes left as we see a 13.7. So he's about 0.2 of a second a lap faster each lap as we circle around, and you still see some spray in areas. But yeah, track is definitely dry, and definitely see a dry line formed. Pretty much all the way around the track. Still seeing some puddles though in some of the apex curbing and the apex of the corners. Right there is a good example of it as they came around. And you can see him taking the wide berth around, not really wanting to flirt with that puddle on the inside. And I think that's been his greatest asset today, is just being able to read the track and knowing where the grip is. And he's put it to quite good use, as he is just, it's 37 seconds to P2. It's one of those, I think if it went to an hour, I think he would probably lap the field. That's just how dominant he's been today. Just having a great run. As we're now 4.5 minutes left in the race. We see Nam in second, Moran hanging on to third, Pollard in fourth, Ross in fifth, Surly in sixth, Kevin Adrian leading Spec 2 in seventh, David Lehman leading Masters in eighth, and then Woloski and Love rounding out your top 10. So there's still some really good, not really any battles, but still some good results out there, and still potential if somebody makes a mistake to pick up a spot or two.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know. These wee hours as well. Sometimes, somebody's out there really trying to grind laps away, and you can make a mistake, or vice versa. You get nice and consistent out there and able to make up a position or two. And our driver here, Jake Williams from Wales, not too surprising that he's able to drive in weather like this. Wales getting the highest average rainfall of any UK country, I believe, precipitating in the 1,500 millimeter range. Wow. There's a lot of rain out there for sure. We get a ton of precip where I live as well, but it freezes for half of the year into snow, and it piles up about 27 feet high. So I know about precipitation and stuff for sure. We get some kind of, we're actually in a rainforest out here technically, but Jake Williams getting the overall high average rainfall award for sure, and proving it out there today in first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's 13.6. He actually took the lap off last lap, only at a 14 flat. So we're going to get a look at Andrew Lupp. Oh, puddle on the inside.
Oh, no.
Manages to hang on to it and hangs on to there. More puddling there. And then to the inside, takes the puddle there, and that was too much. That was more than the car could handle. And he was just trying to get back onto the normal racing line, and it's just not there for him tonight.
Yeah, I think you're at pretty high speed right there, diving into that one. You're on the gas, and you're really diving into that puddle, and it looked like car just couldn't handle it. It's got these tires, being trying to do the best of both worlds, being perfect at neither. They just can't exit water, quickly enough. They simply can't exit water fast enough in situations like that. And I think that's probably what he found out right there. I have found out many, many times. You can see actually Jake Williams kind of testing that little skinny puddle he just went through. He's doing that tactically for sure. That skinny puddle, not so big of a problem. That fatter one just to the right of it or to the left of it there, that would have hydroplaned and possibly spun the car. And he knows that. There's enough water out there you can kind of ram through and there's too much, that you just can't sometimes, and you got to kind of make those calculations when you're out there. Him doing it perfectly this race so far, putting in now 13.3, just clicking off faster and faster and faster laps, as you would if you are the fastest guy out there. That's how you should see it. If I was his race engineer, I'd be saying, okay, Jake, you don't have to keep clicking them off quite like this now. You can slow her down a bit. We're impressed. But, you're going to want to click them off like that, right? It's fun. And also it's getting better. So why not?
Yeah, if I was his race engineer, I'd be saying, "Look, Max, we've got a 40-second lead. We don't need fastest laps of the race."
Exactly. And he would
it's like you've proven your point. Let's back it off a little bit and just get the race finished. You got 2 laps left to go. We don't need you hydroplaning off into the barrier.
Yeah, and Jake Williams out there proving it for sure. So some really, really good, consistent driving there. As well. And, we've seen a few of the drivers out there, the ones that we probably haven't had on film too much today are the ones that have been super consistent out there. And I believe we're about to snag the white flag here. So one more lap for Jake Williams. We'll see if he can't plug in one more pink lap here, or purple lap. I'm looking forward to it. I think he's probably going to give her a shot here, and he's going to take that inside the line, just pushing the absolute boundaries of the track there and stuff. So he knows what he can get away with this car, how much water that front tire is going to take, how much he's going to swing out wide, and so on. And man, it just gets fun when you can do that in these cars in this condition. It's a real blast.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see him coming around, crossing back over, headed down the hangar straight here into Stowe for the last time. And just a masterclass today of how to drive this car in the wet and changing track conditions as the track is drying. It's just been fantastic to watch. Hey, Andrew Moran with a 13.9, the only other driver that's managed to get into the 13s today. So great lap there by Andrew. Even though that's still, I have second off of what Jake is able to do as we're coming around club for the final time. He's going to bring it back to the start-finish line, and he's going to take the race victory here by about 42 seconds as Jake Williams there setting another fastest lap of the race, 1:13.1. So take the fastest lap of the race.
Well done.
And then loses the car there. But just a nice
there
little
at the
slide.
End, too.
That
Very
was
nice
very pretty.
Wow.
Very pretty.
Little opposite walk save there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, as Aeronom finally working his way around for the final lap of the race here. Paul Jackson, unfortunately, gets the black flag and crosses the start-finish line. Oh, so that's going to be a penalty. That's going to drop him down one position. So not too much of a pain point there, but unfortunate to get that at the final lap of the race as Aeronom comes around to pick up P2. And then Moran in short order here is going to get third. As the rest of the field comes around, we still have a few more seconds to get fourth and fifth in, as well as Jackson Morley, who is a lap down, but is going to be coming across the line here very shortly.
Yeah, it was a pretty darn good race out there today, too. Not too much attrition. Definitely some locking down and spinning, but we didn't see any parts flying or anything there, really. No wheels losing, no massive pile-ups or anything. There was one or two kind of tangles, but nothing too crazy. That maybe, again, there wasn't 40 cars out there today. There was only 18 takers for the rain race. Not an easy one for sure, and I understand why some people don't want to get in the rain. If you haven't practiced and you don't, you haven't really put down the laps in the rain and haven't kind of wrapped your head around the rain, it can be just incredibly frustrating. It can feel like the game is literally trying to steal things from you at every corner. Like, this is just impossible until you kind of wrap your head around it. But I would encourage anybody out there who is not and has not participated in a rain race to get some practice in and do it, because it is a skill that you want to learn. And man, it is so much fun when you can get it right. You just have to take a bit of a different mentality going in, sort of like maybe a shooter video game or something. You got to get used to that KD a little bit. You're going to spin, you're going to crash. It's okay. Just keep plugging away. But I do believe we have some results here coming.
Yeah, let's bring our race results up and we'll go through them. Jake Williams, our race winner today, just dominant. It was just class of the field from start to finish. Great job by Jake. Aeronom finishing in second. Andrew Moran finishes in third. Mikey Pollard in fourth. Mario Ross finishes fifth. Frederick Surley finishing in P6. Kevin Adrian gets the Spec 2 victory and finishing in P7th. David Lehman finishing in 8th, getting the Masters class victory. Glenn Wolowski finishes 9th, Spec 2 P2. Jeff Wubker P10, Spec Masters P2. Andrew Love rounds out the Masters podium in 11th. Paul Jackson rounds out the Spec 2 podium in 12th. Jackson Morley 13th, York Monty 14th, Antonio Reese 15th, Daniel Verone 16th, Daniel Case 17th, and Rick Wishin 18th. Case and Wishin didn't even take the start, and Verone was out very early today. So great bit of driving by Jake Williams, and really good battles on the track. And it was a testament to the drivers' guts level to just be able to just finish this race. And then end up with a good result. So congrats to our class winners and of course our overall winners as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it, Charles. Just finishing one of these races is an accomplishment for sure. Just getting out there and taking these challenges on, in the heavy rain, perhaps maybe when you're not so confident in it and stuff, is a win in my book. So, I love to see lots of participation in these races when they do come up, because it's just something different. It takes you out of your comfort zone. For me, just going flag to flag all the time is not immersive. A pit stop, some light in your eyes, a little bit of rain on the ground, maybe even just some warm weather or something like that on track really adds immersion into the sim for me. And I invite it, even when it does make me a little uncomfortable, because that's kind of what it's all about for me. But it's looking like we're not getting too many people in the interview room here yet. Perhaps we'll give them a minute here and see if anybody wants to show up. But pretty difficult race out there in the rain. I believe our final round here, I'm going to go and have a look. Is it at Navarra? Is that right, or did I get that wrong?
Lebanon.
That's the one. At Lebanon is going to be our final round. So we are in the wee hours of our championship as well, calling it kind of our championship week here at SMB, where everything sort of wraps up in F3 and F4 and FF. SRF tomorrow, again, we've got some points battles and stuff going on there as well. I believe we're headed to Imola for that one. So all kinds of stuff happening in the week. And oh, sorry, it was Lime Rock. That's right. You're right. I knew that. It's the West Bend chicane layout as well, if I remember correctly. And that's going to be our final round for the FS. A little bit of a head scratcher on the final round at Lime Rock. That one could be frenetic. It could be, I've always found that place, it starts to feel like a bit of an oval after a while in 40 minutes. These are pretty fast cars around there too, so you're going to get a lot of laps done. And I should mention here, before we do perhaps get to some interviews or wrap the show up, that we are funded by our drivers and by sponsors and so on. And if anybody is looking out there to get next season sponsored up, we are looking for sponsors for next season. And obviously, this means a whole lot to us here in the booth and hopefully to you guys at home and stuff as well, that we can bring it to you every week. So if you're looking to sponsor the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors or the Spec Racer Ford or the Formula Vs or any of our shows for that matter, you can get a hold of Stevie Ray or myself here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. We can help you out with that, because we couldn't do it without you, and we sure appreciate it a lot. Not sure, do we have any interviews here? Doesn't look like it.
I don't see it. And if you just want to send me a check, I'll take it too. That's fine.
Yeah, that too.
So
yeah, we'll just take random money as well.
Exactly. No interviews. So I think we'll wrap it up, Josh. And we'll look forward. Obviously, we got Spec Racer coming up here just shortly, and we'll be don't even know where we're going to be, but we'll be getting prepped for that, and we'll have us a quite a good race there in the Spec Racer Ford. It's at Imola. All right, so Imola for the Spec Racer. So that'll be a fun race. Hopefully we'll get a race out of that, and we won't have to worry about it. So so looking forward to what's coming up next. And I think we always, as usual, a full schedule this week, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe we do have a full schedule of racing this week. I'm just going to pull it up really quickly in front of me here, and I'll go through a couple things. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this as well, but I'm going to pull it up. I actually just went in there last night and kind of fixed it up a little bit. So today we actually have, of course, the SRF, or sorry, the Spec Racer Fords are going to be at Imola. After that, we have American Muscle Series at Bathurst. So they're about mid-season now. That's going to be a darn good race in the Mustangs. F4 is going to be finishing off their season at Magny-Cours. So that'll be their final round of the season. F3 Phillip Island also going to be the 12th round of that one, and then we're into our Weekend Warrior final rounds as well. Brands Hatch in the Formula V, Lime Rock Park West chicane in the FF, as we touched on, Spec Racer Ford at Lebanon, and then we have Spa, also our last round of XSLR is coming up too, and then we have Liberty Bell, and that's going to be, I believe, the last round of that, but that's not coming till March 15th, so we're gonna have to wait another week, at Olton Park, and we're gonna have to wait another week for that one as well. And then of course we re-rack everything, start another season, big giant iRacing update coming, super exciting, and we're all back to it again. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned here for our run of championship weeks here in all of our different series, and we'll see you then, Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. For Josh Wilkie and for Guido Marzucchi in the booth, keeping us all happy. I am Charles Boshell. Thank you very much for watching today. Don't forget, 1 hour from now, Spec Racers at IMLA. Weekend Warriors doubleheader continues. Thank you very much for watching. Be safe and see you next time.